after that one. We'll leave him alone.
Got a bit sideways and ran out of talent. Is that what happened?
It happens, doesn't it? TCM
Absolutely.
on track. Plenty of talent here, though, at the top end of town. How's this guy? Your old teammate, John Bow, reigning champ, leads by 107 points. He's won the last 3 rounds in a row. He's won the last 9 races in a row. And he's still sooking about parity.
I can't believe how much weight they must have put in this thing. I think it's revving to about 3,500 revs, and it's got 500 kilos of extra weight in it, hasn't it?
Well, they have loaded him up. He's 70 kilograms heavier in that Mustang than Jim Richards, who starts on the front row with him. And he's got 400 less revs. TCM run a success system, so if you win a round, you get 30 kilograms added and 300 less revs. So just trying to even out the competition, but he keeps winning. But,
you know, he is one of the most competitive blokes I've ever met in my life. He loves this racing, and he just, the more they penalise him, the deeper he digs to get a result, and doing a great job.
Keith Gasuki here. We've seen Keith in the ex-Glen Seaton two-door coupe Falcon, but he's got back into his older HQ Monaro this weekend because the Falcon had a little bit of damage at the Muscle Car Masters. So he's starting from the 3rd row of the grid. There he is, that blue car. He jets in from Papua New Guinea for every round of the championship. Really does love this TCM stuff. And you might see a bit further back in the pack, Tony Edwards in that SLR 5000 Tirana. It's now in HDT livery. You'd think that Brock and Bond were here.
It's crazy. And we're having a look at Gavin Bullis there in the Mustang. I mean, I love that red Mustang. Reminds me so much of Alan Moffat's car, which is very similar. I mean, we've got some great competitors and some great cars in this category. There's Jimmy Richards. Done an amazing job building up that Javelin. Andrew Madecki behind him in the yellow car, and here's the one I was talking about, Gavin Bullis in the Mustang.
Remember, if you're on Twitter, hashtag V8SC throughout the course of the afternoon, and indeed tomorrow. Are you on Twitter? I don't think so, are you?
No, I'm a bit old.
Do you know what Twitter is?
Yeah, something happens on your phone.
Oh, right, I just thought I'd check.
Have a look at the little Porsche now. I mean, when I was a kid, I always wanted one of those 911Es or Ts. I mean, it's a great category. All these cars, all different cars mixed into it.
It really represents that golden era of 60s and 70s touring car racing at places like here at Sandown with Norm Beachy, Bob Jane, Alan Moffat, Pete Gagan.
And me in the crowd.
Oh, yeah, you were only really young.
Yeah,
looking
really
over
young.
The fence. Green at the back. Jimmy Richards, that new AMC Javelin on the right, still looking for a breakthrough win in 2012. Can he stop the streak? John Bow with 9 in a row. Now we get going. The Porsches will be quick, they always are. But once they get cranking, the big V8s have got too much, and John Bow will lead it to turn 1. Richard second, then Gavin Bullis, Bill Pye around the outside, and that's Michael Arman, has gone nowhere in one of those Porsche 911s. But John Bow, the reigning champ, this streak's at 9, it could be 10.
And one thing's for sure, he'll leave nothing on the table. He'll be doing everything he can to win this race. Fantastic start, got off the line. He's got Richo all over him.
The Porsche's going nowhere with young Michael Arman. We've seen him racing in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge this year. But he is done in this one. Down the back straight, this is where they really start to sing. It's Bow and Richards.
And look how high these cars sit off the ground. Whoa!
Bill Pye a little bit wide in the Camaro. And under pressure, Mediki's in the gap and takes 4th spot.
And the great thing about these sorts of cars, when you look at a head-on shot, you can see how much negative camber the cars are running. They've got them jacked up and really working hard to get the tyres to generate as much grip as possible, hang on the road. As you can see, there's a couple of different lines you can use when you're running around in one of these.
And the pace that these things are generating. They've been blitzing them. The lap record of Jim Richards was a 1:17.45 from 2010. The pole time was about 2 seconds faster. That's the development. You think, geez, they're old cars. What more can you get out of them? That's Brent Crick, who's off the road at turn 1 in the Charger. Now, this is a second run for Cricky in TCM. We normally see him in the Viper in GT racing. This is the first time a manufacturer's got behind a car in TCM. You see Mopar Performance.
And Cricky's pretty adaptable. He can drive a little bit or anything. I'm sure that's one of the cars out of his collection in his garage. He's got the odd car laying around the place.
He is a used car salesman.
Absolutely he is.
That's the ex-Elliott Barber car that Crick's running. Now, this is the replay of the start. Watch for that Porsche. Not going anywhere. Good job from Michael Wedge to get around. Paul Freestone as well.
And it's going nowhere.
Ready?
Broken
Brake.
gearbox or
drive line.
Yep, something not right.
You know, it's bad when the medical car is about to pass you. And this is the replay at turn 1 of Greg Crick going straight ahead.
Well, he looks like he missed the brake marker by about 10 or 20 metres there. He didn't look like he was ever going to stop that thing.
And have a look at Richards. He is on the charge. He's having a look at John Bow. He's just set the fastest lap, 16.43. It's a new car this year for Jimmy. He's run a Falcon Sprint for the last couple of years.
And this car looks great. It's hanging onto the road. You watch JB's car and you'll see how much it's moving around, where Jimmy Richards seems to be able to place the car wherever he wants, drive it off the corner really nicely, and certainly hang on to JB. But in these cars, it's not that easy to slide down the inside of somebody. Back on board with Keith Kasuki in the Monaro, chasing Bill Pye, who's doing double duty this weekend. He's also racing one of Dick Johnson's old Greens Tough Mustangs in the Group A and C touring cars that are here this weekend. So he's keeping really busy. But Gavin Bullis is closing in. He's been out of the series for a couple of rounds, fresh back from the 12-hour at the Sepang circuit in Malaysia, and has got the Boss Mustang really hooked up. Put a lot of work into this car. I think Gavin drives really well. He puts a lot of time and money into the whole project, and this is a great looking car and certainly fast. It's lost none of its pace while it's been parked in the garage. Remember too that it's not strictly historic racing that we've seen over the years. The cars have a few more freedoms, some more performance modifications, and some safety modifications as well. So they're going as fast as they ever have, and they're getting more development out of them. They definitely are. They've got better brakes on them. They've got a number of different changes. But as you said, they've balanced them up with a bit of parity adjustment. They pull the revs down. They put a bit of weight in them every time they're successful. And it's working really well. You look at these three cars, there is nothing between them. 2 race wins for Gavin Bullis in 2012 so far. And former series champ, had the pole here at the Sandown round in 2007, but he's chasing down 2 Hall of Famers. How is it to race with these guys? And our super slow-mo camera's been capturing a bit of spark. Exhaust. That's what happens when you run straight over the curbs. Absolutely. A bit of exhaust. What do we got here? This is on board the Monaro of Keith Kasuki that sits in 6th. What we can see is that's a steering column that's in the black there with the 2 bolts on it right in the front. You can see him turning the lock onto the car. And off to your left is a top arm of the suspension bouncing up and down. Very interesting stuff to look at. John Bow is leading the way, stretching the margin. He's got half a second over Jimmy Richards. Bullis is going with them. Medeki's 4th. A great one. Race 1 of Touring Car Masters. More from Sandown in just a moment. Back at Sandown, and plenty of action in Touring Car Masters. Turn 1 has caught out Chris Collins in the Falcon XA GT. He will get it going and get back on the road. But he has lost time and he's lost places, as too has Andrew Medeki, 3rd in the championship, Brad Jones. He's in pit lane and out of this race. Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. He was just coming onto the back straight and the thing just seemed to slow down. So maybe it's, he did limp it back, so maybe it's broken something in the gearbox. These cars run a pretty heavy-duty 4-speed gearbox. But haven't we got a fantastic dice here for the lead? Jim Richards and John Bow. This could be 10 years ago, really. It's legend versus legend, and Richards is now down the inside towards turn 1. He's still looking for his first win in this AMC Javelin, and he's standing up as the man to break John Bow's winning streak. They'll be side by side at turn 1. Jimmy gives him room. Good stuff, boys. And now at turn 2, it's JB with the inside, and he hangs on. They wouldn't have done that 10 years ago. No, would have been a bit more thorough. Maybe he was 15. Here's Medeki back in the lane in the Bob Middleton Camaro. And they're pulling the front wheel off. Is that the rear wheel off? Oh, no. That doesn't look right. No, that doesn't look right at all. Maybe it's broken his steering arm if that's at the front, which it looked like it was. Richards getting another run down the back straight, up on the inside, and of course he's got more revs on board, but not quite enough. Just can't quite get up there, and JB's definitely not going to roll over too easy. 4 laps to go. But you have the feeling that Jimmy's just going to hunt him down here in a minute and squeeze by him. Remember that JB's a 3-time Sandown 500 winner, twice with Dick Johnson back-to-back in 94 and 95, and even won it in a Ferrari back in 2001 when the race was alive for production cars and the like. And Jimmy Richards, he was so good that he broke down one day in a BMW, fixed it himself, and still won. can't imagine doing that nowadays.
No. He's peppering away here, getting closer and closer and closer.
I think he just needs JB to have a little bit of a moment coming out of the last corner for him to get that run down the inside and outbreak him.
A bit further back in the pack, Bill Pye in the foreground of screen in fourth. Here's Keith Kasuki, and we jump back inside this Monaro.
It's amazing. I love watching that bolt flex that's holding the suspension and watching the engine move when he gets on and off the throttle and changes gears. You can see the thing twisting, and that's why they have rubber-mounted engine mounts. So it does have that flexibility with all that torque of the engine. When he jumps on the throttle, it twists, and then it shoots the power down through the tail shaft to the rear wheels. But they need that flexibility because you can't have them locked up.
Greg Crick's been off the road down at turn 1 again. Has got the Charger running, but he rejoins in what should be ninth spot. Now, lapped car here for the boys to contend with. Tony Karanfilovsky in the V8 Falcon has been in the pit lane running a borrowed engine this weekend. Great camaraderie from the TCM guys. Steve Makarios, another of the Falcon drivers, loading a spare engine to get Tony into the field this weekend. And son of a gun watching on, Steve Richards watching Father Jim go. Now, JB's got away here, 17-0 that time. Jim Richards at 18-2. Clearly some form of drama and a little bit of a delay with the lap car.
Well, that was a problem for Jimmy. He just could not get out of sync. The trick will be now that if he can rein John Bowe back in again.
This is how Crick ended up around the wrong way. Locks the rears. Was just closing in on Mark King in the second of the Middleton team Camaros.
Oh,
never nice.
Well, those tyres will be nicely flat spotted. You can see it pick all that gravel up, take him a couple laps to get all that back off the tyres.
This is back on board with the Monaro that sits in 5th spot. Keith Kasuki doing the job. I don't remember a Monaro in 71 looking this good inside.
No, it's funny, isn't it? I was thinking before when I was looking at some of this in-car shot, that reminds me so much of what the HRT's cars used to be like in the early 90s. You know, fair bit of room around, you walk around a fair bit when they had a more comprehensive dash package. Look at his leg bouncing up and down there. He's pumping the brake up so that the car will stop when he gets down to Dandenong Road. Pulls the car up, grabs the gear at the last moment, turns the thing in, releases the brake, picks the throttle up. Little adjustment on the steering wheel.
He's off to England, actually, after this round to go and run in the Britcar 24-hour race. He's going to swap from the Monaro to a turbocharged Astra. Slightly different.
I think he'd be able to notice the difference.
He's doing a good job. He's one of the really improved drivers in TCM. He's got a great car. It's been well prepared. He's done a lot of work with this one and with the Falcon. And he's comfortable in 5th spot. Just chasing down Bill Pye. But up front, John Bowe has the margin.
And we just got a glance at Bill Pye having a bit of a moment in front of him there where he's locked up the brakes. Got a bit more pace going than Bill Pye. I think there's a chance he might run him down towards the end there.
This the super slow
Look at the
left front.
Wow, that's amazing vision, isn't it? Look at the distortion in that rear tyre where the inside sidewall moves around as the tyre runs over the curb on the inside, which is like a saw, so it's jaded. Amazing vision. Great stuff.
Don't show JB. Oof. He's really pushing hard. The reigning champion in Touring Car Masters. He calls this car Mustang Sally. I'll tell you what it's delivered in 2012. He sets out now on what will be the final lap at Sandown in race 1, round 6 of the Touring Car Masters. This is to go for 10 straight race wins. That's never happened in the 5 or 6 year history of Touring Car Masters. It's quite phenomenal.
If he keeps it up, they'll make him drag a trailer around in a second and carry the weight. It is quite amazing. And he was just, I think, a little bit lucky there where he skipped away from Jimmy Richards in the traffic.
Another lapped car, Wayne Mercer there. Oh, yellow flag, and he's passed that lapped car under yellow. That's why there's a yellow flag. There's debris on the track. And he clearly passed under that yellow. It was right in front of us.
Yeah, he did.
There's the green. Good to go from there. That has to be looked into. I'm not trying to ruin the streak. I love a stat as much as anybody else, but it was a yellow flag zone.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they handle that because the Falcon was going slowly and JB was committed and went up the inside. So, but anyway, what we see now here is what's going on in front of us, and
we'll call it as it is because he's at the final couple of corners in the right left onto the pit straight here at Sandown. It will be V for victory for John Bowe today. Picks up 10 in a row in Touring Car Masters. He's marching towards his second straight title in TCM. Jimmy Richards gave him one heck of a race, but Mustang Sally gets home again.
Amazing job JB does with that car. You know, all the people that help him, he has a lot of volunteers with him, and the people that support it. He's got Wilson, Westrake. Great job.
We'll see the TCM boys and girls at Bathurst in a few weeks' time. Bullis third from Bill Piker. Silky next. Tony Edwards in the Tirana sixth. Adam Bressington